LED font.
I know you're okay when this starts clicking.
But I got
Second.
two
And the blue's
Battlefield.
on.
On this guy?
Yeah.
Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah,
But-
the new ones.
I'm sorry.
The Navy
I'm pointing to the wrong
handed them out
place.
like candy, you can see them, you know, it wasn't
All
like
right.
they didn't.
On
You ever
your
sign
knee.
it?
So you want me to give
Just lift it.
we need a person to fill this.
We need a
Who's
fill.
next? Put him on.
You need a villain, put that guy in it.
I was still in high school when I got my third class.
Donald.
Say that again?
Or if there's no difference,
I
then
tell people.
why pay the
Okay,
extra?
well,
That's my
I know.
point.
They just-
Doesn't get the job done.
Folks,
Yeah.
cameras on,
Open the door.
I
cameras
skipped out of the
on.
hospital and went over and took my test and come back.
Are we being recorded?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness, well, we better
Smile
watch,
good, smile
better-
good.
we better watch what we say.
For later uploading to the World Wide Web.
Give that to Dave, will you, behind you?
There were 3 pages of minutes for the last meeting, you can
2-hour meeting we had.
be looking at those.
That's crazy.
There were 2 spelling errors on names, as Haywood told me his name, I thought it was O-O and it's A-R. And Quinage is missing the U. It's better you than me. So are we impressed with the new lights?
They
good.
approximate daylight, they're pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think they brighten up a lot of areas that weren't as bright before, I know by us it was
The
great.
intervals between the poles were established for sodium vapor.
Right.
And now we have, so is the cone of light equal to,
You have to go out and take measurements of the lumens.
I have a short, I have, my measuring tape's too short for that.
Lumens.
In some cases, that is the case, like in the North Drive extension, the lights are spaced for sodium.
Yeah.
So now when you look at it, you have a black stripe and a white stripe,
Sure,
but on the main roads, on the main track,
oh yeah,
they
they're fine.
merge.
Yeah.
Except the 2 spots where we have 4 or 5 out,
Out,
but
yeah.
we're working on it.
Any corrections on the minutes? We'll wait 5 because it's gonna take 3 pages to read it. We're gonna take a vote, could you
Yeah,
pass the
yeah. Sign in.
the
Yeah.
who's what's this, because I think there are
Here's a whoozy what's it coming your way.
for vote.
Several who's
What's this?
Whoozy what's it.
How's your who's? Because my watch is doing well.
I can't handle both of you.
Shall we? Alright. Donald, you wanna,
Morning, everyone. The first item I have for you, I see that there's an item for the Okeechobee entrance gate. I don't know anything about that. I think that's an Ed Black project. And I don't see him here. Yes, ma'am.
Okeechobee entrance gate,
I know nothing about that.
all I know is about the sign, which
Maybe it should
if
be
you don't
signed
mind,
instead of
I thought I was gonna bring it up down by discussion, but if you want me to bring it up now, I'll
Sure,
bring
why
it
not?
up.
Knock it off.
Okay, here's some, go ahead,
I assume there's gonna be some votes taken here today.
not for the sign it can't, and I'll tell you
Just
why.
for the record, do we have a quorum? 1, 2
Okay.
of non-officers, committee
we need
members.
4.
No, we got 4.
We got 4
Yeah,
right here.
okay.
Okay.
How many
I
people
count
on
for
the
4.
Fair
committee?
enough. How many on the committee?
Seven?
There are
Seven on the
seven.
committee?
1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
So you're more than enough,
Oh, I'm sorry, Okeechobee entrance gate is the sign?
I would presume so, that's what I think.
Sure, why not?
I think someone meant that and didn't like, hi, can
Hi,
I
Eva.
come on in, yeah, yeah.
We're here to speak
Wait,
to the Sphinx project.
No, I'm sorry, David, I just keep disappointing you with that.
I sent some pictures down, I didn't know if I have enough. Dominic was with us, we met a fellow from Stella Signs. This is not for a vote, this is an informational thing. The one that says Country Park, the second one down, okay? The guy came, he explained all about the materials to Dominic, right, some of it.
The base of it is polypropylene,
Right.
lightweight, will sustain a wind load of 180 miles an hour.
Right,
They have to pour their own base after they remove what's there,
right,
and then replace it with something that's fairly lightweight, but very strong.
right. And the thing is, if, when the time comes, if we decide to do this sign with this company, we can go to his place, maybe Haywood would like to come, cause you're both engineers and, cause I don't know much about this product, so that's why I had Dominic there, so you can see. But this is just a starting point, because I'll tell you why, we had a beautification committee, and at the beautification committee, we did not have enough people to take a vote to recommend a new sign. But just from what people said, officers that were there, some officers were not in favor of changing the sign. So now I have to go to the officers' meeting next Thursday to make sure and take a vote, because I don't wanna go through all this work if we can't change the sign, if the officers don't agree, okay? Meanwhile, this fella and this sign that you see there, I have an email from him. It's 1 foot and 4 inches thick and approximately 50 square feet. The project will permit, the project with permit and installations of only one-sided, we need two-sided, the way it is now, two-sided.
Yeah,
Will be-
orientation now is so that you see it
Right.
coming and going.
Well, David had said at the
And one side-
beautification, if we could do it parallel, I said, I don't know, we have to ask you, cause I don't know about permit.
If you wanna do any alterations, the sign cannot be closer to the curb, the curved
It would be
curbing,
further back,
5 feet, 5 feet, 5 feet, so.
okay,
When I did the original drawing, I had put an imaginary line to
Right.
show that what I had done was two-faced in a V shape with water coming out from
yeah,
behind
that
it.
was what we
That
had
was
a couple of years
longer,
ago,
yeah.
yeah.
And so,
Well, anyway, this guy, I said to him, they have to do drawings to get permits and everything else. And they will charge you for that. And once we can decide on an amount or to cap an amount, this fella, I said, I need a ballpark figure within a couple of $1,000s. And he said, he originally said one-sided sign, 10,000, double-sided would be about 13,000. Complete installed with permit. That was his thing. I had no idea what signs cost. DeSantos is willing to take me up to Jupiter, the guy he has for a sign. Dominic explained to me that when they build here, it's gonna cost more money because of labor, where if they build where they are and bring the sign, it's cheaper. Meanwhile, we've been trying to get a hold of another guy, he's coming next week, and, oh my gosh, I don't know where the paper is, but he had signs, I can't show you pictures because he sent me videos, and I don't know how to capture those pictures, okay? He's done 4 signs, and he showed, the one that's nearest to our size, that they build right here on premise with cinder block, is $60,000. Now I'm waiting for another price from ADG, which I didn't get yet, okay? I will get, if I can, 3-4 bids, I don't mind, because I think bidding is important. But so far, this guy seems good, but I wanted to make sure the product is good. And when he told Dominic, and Dominic looked at it, and Haywood can look at it, 180 miles an hour wind, that sounds pretty good to me. So that's where we are. I will bring all the figures and all the facts you wanna know to the next bid committee meeting, once I find out if the officers want us to go forward with a new sign. The second sign that says Country Park, that's similar, that's what we want, but it'll say Century and then Village, it'll be pinned letters. We will have good floodlighting shining on it. We will save whatever we can in landscaping, like because of that coloring, the rocks that you have out there now will be saved, and maybe some other stuff there. We don't know till we go to the landscaping end, okay? I do want everyone to know that we had $27,000 in the budget. If we can keep the sign itself to a maximum of 15,000, it sounds pretty good. But I'm just this is informational only. We're getting more bids and more people. So I will be at the next meeting for a vote, not this meeting. I have to go to the offices first.
Yes, as an officer, I know that I was at the beautification meeting
Yes.
yesterday and you explained this to us. I would hope that you're going to bring us as much information as you have possible on this, because I find it very unusual that we're being asked to vote on something that we don't have all the bids.
I'm not
in.
asking you to
No,
vote
wait a
on
minute,
it.
Excuse me, let me finish. And there's no RFP out on this, and I know that this is something that you actually drummed into my head so many times, just to get your RFP in order. And then when you come to the offices, we have all the information that we need. It's a considerable amount of money. I like the idea of beautifying the village also, but we have to think about, I know we have the budget, but then again, you're only giving us the price for the sign. Then you said that there's gonna be extra money also for the landscaping and for the other work that's
Yes,
involved
and
here too.
if you were here listening at that
Yes,
meeting,
yes.
Donald was here, and Donald was kind enough to figure out how much more would be for lighting. Did you not say approximately?
We say 19K all in?
Can you speak up a little bit, Donald?
No,
It's hard for me to hear you.
No, we got up to, I think it was $16,000.
Yeah,
And that's with lighting and putting in shrubbery.
and that's
Okay.
it then,
That's it, right.
Okay.
But let me tell you something.
yeah.
Any company you get, you can't ask them for the drawings that, and Dominic can verify this, that has to go to permit. They have to do drawings to show everything, right?
Yeah.
That's the drawing that I wanna bring to the committee, okay? But you're gonna have to pay for that. So they're gonna charge you maybe any place from $500 to $600 for this drawing. But I'm going, when we decide on the company, whoever, which to me it looks like Stella right now, I'm gonna say, sure, we'll pay that, but I want you to take it off the other end if we select you. I don't wanna have to pay that for nothing.
So far, you have one company that you have.
No, we have two right
Oh,
now
okay,
with prices.
okay. All right, because yesterday I thought there was only one.
There was one yesterday.
Mhm.
Today, I just got from Salvatore, he sent me prices.
Okay,
And now I'm waiting for ABG and the Santos I have to go
Okay.
to. But this is not a vote here, this is just an informational meeting, that's it.
I think what she's trying to do is, she's not bringing it to bid. That would be after.
I understand that.
What she's trying to
That's very
find
clear.
out from the
Right.
offices,
Right,
do the offices want to go ahead with replacing the sign with a new sign,
Right.
period.
And I would like to know
That's
how
it.
these
No,
people
no,
feel in the
it's
bid
more
committee
complicated than that.
about getting a new sign or not. Cause I know yesterday Joy had said, and this sign is not gonna make it any more visible. Let me just explain that, not more visible. It's gonna update our entrance for curb appeal only. We want it to look a little more updated, not like an ambulance room sign.
Aesthetic.
Yeah, right. So I just wanna know, I'm curious how the bid committee feels about changing the sign.
Once, again, if you think about it, we're dealing with apples and oranges.
Right,
Yeah,
Something prefabricated and installed on a platform as opposed to something stick-built on site.
right,
We're gonna have two very, very, very
vast
different
differences.
prices.
But the main thing is that we get some that looks nice and withstands the hurricane winds. We're not looking to spend a lot of money, we're not putting a waterfall out there or anything elaborate. Just something to make it look updated, that's all. So I don't know how people right here, I'm trying to get some ideas from people who is in favor of a new sign, not saying this one, a new sign compared to no new sign.
David?
Has a vendor actually written
Yes.
180-mile-per-hour spec?
Well, we have to get that when we get there, yeah.
I believe that's what, I haven't seen any specifications, but
We have to get those
out
specifications.
visiting the site,
We're gonna go to his site, yeah.
I think everything here only has to sustain 130 mile an hour.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
so I maybe the 8 should be a 3, I'm not sure.
But the only reason I'm bringing it is here to give you some information, and I'd like to hear the opinion of the bid committee. I mean, I'm on the bid committee and I value the bid committee, nothing else, but do you want a sign change? That's all I wanna know.
Sorry. The bid committee analyzes bids, so having no bids to look at,
No, I'm just asking for an opinion on changing the sign or
Right.
not. The bids will come later,
So
Donald.
she doesn't
This-
wanna beat the bushes for nothing.
Thank you.
Exactly.
It sounds like
Right, I
this
don't wanna
is-
be running all over the place for no reason.
So it sounds like you wanna know whether you have the support to go forward with the project.
No, not that. I
No.
wanna know if this committee feels
Exploration,
the sign should be
exploring
changed.
the situation.
That's all I'm
Sure.
asking, nothing else.
I'm not on the bid committee,
You
but
want-
you've got my vote.
Yeah.
Upgrade, yes.
Anything,
thank
anything to
you.
make Century Village look better, I'm all for.
I just, and this is not a vote, I'm just trying to get
Good
opinions.
for upgrade.
And we've been discussing this for how many years?
For 5 years,
Five.
yeah.
So, I mean, let's either put it to bed or
Yeah,
do
go
it.
forward, you know, yeah, I'm all for it.
David?
Alright. I don't, it's hard to speak for other people. The sign that's out there, it's not pretty.
No.
It's really minimalistic. I'm 100% in favor of a new upgraded sign. My only concern is the money. What do we really have to pay for this?
Well, that's.
I just gave you some figures, but these are not in writing yet, I have writing.
I got
But
you.
I'm just saying, when I come back with figures, I will ask for a cap. And we have $27,000 on the budget line, I don't wanna spend $27,000 cause I'm cheap, okay? I wanna spend the least and get the nicest, that's all.
So I think
I
the
just right
best
now-
way to go then, Barbara, would be to something that's built outside and
Prefab.
installed,
Right.
prefab.
That's why
Rather than
you
site-
and
site
Haywood
build
as an
is
engineer,
far
I would
too
like you
expensive.
to come to the plant and see what they're doing. But first, we're gonna go up with Dos Santos, it's gonna take me someplace else.
David?
See, brick, block, mortar built on site. Can almost believe the 180-mile-an-hour spec.
Oh, yeah, with that, it would.
Somebody's talking polypropylene, some sort of plastic compound on the base. You know, 180-mile-an-hour wind, that's subnuclear force, you have no idea.
Yes, I don't think
It's
the
gonna
180
take that
is the
sign.
issue.
No, I don't.
And take it to Boca Raton.
What is the sign made of out there now, Donald?
Steel and aluminum.
Steel.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I wanna know.
It's solid, you can't fault its construction, it's just
Does it
so,
look good?
so minimalistic,
Well, it's 50 years old.
yeah,
At the time, it was good.
It was good at the time.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
All right, thank you, that's all I
You've
wanna
got things to
know.
do.
But
Why don't you go
ultimately,
next?
this has to go to the delegate assembly for a vote, is that
Well,
correct?
we're not even near that.
I know, I understand that, but you're saying that the officers are gonna vote to see whether they wanna go ahead with it. And then
Not
you're
go
gonna get
if
the
they wanna
bids,
change the
then you
sign.
get the bids in, and then when you get it all together, then you still have to take it to the executive board and it has to go
I have no
to-
problem with that.
Okay,
Because I am sure that, I don't know most
but
people in
at
this
some point, you're
room,
gonna have to spend that money that you're talking about, not spending it before it comes to the offices.
what are you talking about?
You're saying that you wanna take it to the offices for a vote.
No,
but you
no,
don't wanna spend the
tomorrow,
money.
next
Yeah.
week,
Mhm.
only
Yeah.
because you were against the
Right.
sign yesterday.
I
You
didn't say,
said,
I never said I was against it, Barbara, don't put words in my mouth,
okay,
I
did
never
you
said
say
that.
there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that sign?
No, I'm just getting all the information I can
Well,
about it,
I
because
think
I've
we
been
ought to
through
look
this,
at the meeting from
before, too.
yesterday.
I know.
But
I've
anyway,
been through
that's
it.
okay. I
Mhm.
just wanna make sure we're not spinning our wheels like usual, and then the officers say, no. I don't wanna hear that,
No.
but I will bring it starts here
Right,
with
I
the
understand that,
bid.
but what I'm saying is that even so, you're gonna have to supposedly spin your wheels because you have to take it to the delegate assembly with all of the information.
Well, no, we're gonna start here with all the information,
I know,
right
I
here,
know, but.
then to
all right,
officers, then the executive board,
Okay,
then to delegate assembly, if we have to do it that way. I have no problem,
Okay.
because most people would like to see a nicer sign.
What you're saying is the sign is medieval and you'd like to update it and you just wanna
Wanna
go,
To make it look a little
bring the
nicer,
info and we'll go from there.
that's what I mean, but
No
I
one's
gotta
just-
have enough,
Good.
I don't wanna run around getting all this
No,
info
of course,
without the
medieval.
officers agreeing to change the sign.
Mhm.
If the officers say, no, we don't wanna change the sign, well, then I'm not gonna do this running around. This
No,
is
no.
what happened previously, we ran around, and it went nowhere.
The consensus seems as if we're
I would hope
agreeing
so,
with you.
I would
Right.
hope so,
David?
They kicked this around,
too many times,
as Herb says, literally for years.
5 years.
Ever since I can remember.
People see these videos, they see minutes. at some point, someone's a delegate or someone's gonna stand up at delegate assembly. They're gonna move to do this at a price not to exceed.
Right.
And then while all this is very nice, doesn't matter, it's swept away. We go and get the sign. So we ought to be on the record one way or another.
That's all I'm trying to get on the record. Okay, that's all I have to say,
Okay,
thank you.
Eva?
Hi, yes, I'm here, we'd sent an email, but I think we sent it too late.
Ah.
It didn't make it on this agenda. It's about the fence, a new fence at the Dorchester Pool. The amount was $25,000 that was approved. We have two bids. One is from Alpha Fence. Alpha Fence is the company that put in the fence around the guest pool and the resident pool. We have another bid from Martin Fence for $34,000. Alpha is $15,000. Martin Fence is $34,000 and our budget amount is $25,000. So I can go to Rhoda and ask her to make copies and we can give them out. If you wanna just save it for the next meeting, that's fine.
Yeah. Are they bidding on two different types of fencing?
It's all the anodized aluminum, it will match exactly what we have
Powder coated
at
aluminum with impalings on.
Yeah.
How, only 4 feet high?
impalings.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
top fits up above, yeah.
We
Above
have
the
no-
top rail.
We have no impalings, it's an even.
It's gonna be
smooth
flush on
rail.
the top?
Right,
Okay.
so I think they're about 4 or 5 feet high.
Mhm.
And 6 foot, 6 foot aluminum valves, they call it a 1-inch picket. There'll be 2 gates, but again, it's very simple and straightforward, really, we'd be asking for Alpha Fence to get the work. They've done the 2 other fences, they do an excellent job, if we have any issues, they're very responsive, quick to come out and deal with any issues, and you can't beat the price, it's $15,000 versus $34,000 from Martin Fence. So if you're interested, I can ask Rhoda to make copies and I can just drop them back off.
Should this be a subject for next week's operations meeting?
Oh, sure.
Well, what we normally do is we ask the bid committee to
Yeah.
make
Then it
their
goes to
recommendation,
operations.
and then I bring it to operations and ask them to make a motion to approve.
Yeah, why don't we just look at it now and get it done with?
You can do it next operations meeting,
Yeah.
be through with
Is
it.
that-
Which is next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is that
So
a
let's get this stuff
replacement for a fence that's there?
Yeah, we have the chain link everywhere, and that one is very rusted. They all need replacing, and it makes it look less institutional and more resort-like. It's all about the curb appeal, isn't that what we're
David?
talking about?
Um,
Yeah?
It's hard for me to envision. I'd love to see detailed specs.
He's
There are
getting
2
them.
professionals in the business.
15 and 30?
Where is the delta? Where is the differential here? One is gonna do it for 15K, the other for 30K. How is that possible? Is this 30K guy using adamantium steel or diamond coated whatever?
One may be hollow pickets and the other solid, that one might make a
You know?
difference, I don't know.
So there should be something in the specs that would justify
He's
that.
getting them now.
I can't
You
just,
think?
Martin Fence always
Very
comes in higher.
expensive,
Then we had a
Martin
third
Fence is very
company,
expensive.
which was called Budget Fence, but I was not happy with the work that they did, their response time was terrible, so we don't even ask them anymore.
Depends what they pay their laborers too. Martin Fence pays them more money than most companies. They've always been high, Martin Fence, always.
This committee should have time to look at the specs.
Yes,
We're getting them now.
And render an opinion to the officers committee or to operation.
Hops is where it goes,
Tops is where it is.
next Tuesday.
Yeah, sure.
While he's getting the copies, can we go on to the next subject and then we'll bring back this?
No problem.
Oh, Donald's on the next subject, so we have to wait anyway. Okay.
On that fencing, that's the same fence that we have around the guest pool.
Guest,
And
resident and
residence pool.
Hastings,
The black one,
bronze,
bronze,
Bronze.
whatever.
Same fence, same company,
exactly.
Very
Exactly.
I think
nice
it's
fence.
important to keep
Very
a
nice.
continuous look around the village end, it's been
That's it.
discussed
They've
that
been-
we're gonna go with one pool area at a time and get rid of the chain link and put
Yeah,
in this,
they've been very responsive with anything we've had,
anything.
as far as gates not working properly, or the swing don't work right.
It's a nice
Or a
thing.
Yeah,
little sag
Alpha,
on
Alpha, yeah.
the, sag on the
They've
gate,
been very good to
they've
deal
done
with.
good about maintaining it, so
Correct.
that's a plus in their direction.
Yeah, I was supposed to get back to Edgar last week, but I got tied up. I'll see this week he has somebody up in Jupiter, I think. Is he willing to take us up there to see this place, so. But I don't know if he's gonna be in the ballpark of what's happening, we'll see. We have nothing to lose, once I know it's an okay to go back.
Excuse me, Barbara, you needed a Rota's desk.
Road is best.
Yes, David.
You know, we got our CO on 5400. Certificate of occupancy. Have you been over there, you looked it over?
We did the punch list together.
Has it changed a lot, Dominic, from the plan that we originally had set up when we were gonna be in there, when the reporter was gonna be in there?
Not significantly, they're gonna,
I'm just really curious.
they're gonna wall off the kitchenette,
Uh-huh,
and other than that, there's the enclosed conference room, the bathroom,
it's all
and
the same,
it's all the same, yeah.
so we didn't do so badly after all then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Want me to go while we're waiting
Yeah, good.
Go where?
to the next agenda item?
Oh,
Crosswalk striping?
yeah,
Yeah,
where'd
okay.
Barbara go?
There was an issue she needed to take care of out there. Okay, first item on my hip parade is crosswalk striping. Last year, we striped the main Four Corners intersection, Century Boulevard and East Drive. We did it in thermoplastic, and the decision then was to do it, wait a year and see how it held up. Well, it held up. It doesn't shine like the surface of the sun, but it's pretty reflective.
It has
And-
glass
It
beads.
has the glass beads in it, yeah. We paid extra for that, so it seems to me that I don't see any wear areas there, it is reflective. I'm going on to the next main intersection, which is the corner of West Drive and South Drive. There is a map. Sorry about this not being in color, this was all shaded in, but if you look at the picture, you'll see the two ladder crosswalks, one for West Drive, one for South Drive, and the 4 stop bars coming from either direction. That's the job. I have 2 bids. One is from Atlantic Southern Paving. They came in at $3,345. Second bid is from Fine Line Striping, who did the last job for us over at the other 4 corners. They came in at $2,165. If you look at the Fine Line Striping estimate, there was an option there to grind the stop bar off on one of the sides. At the time when I asked, I wasn't sure about the where the stop bar was, whether it was in compliance with the manual. I've since had it measured and we're fine, so forget about that, we don't need to do that. So it's 4 stop bars, 2 ladder crosswalks. Fine Line did a good job, Fine Line did a fine job the last time, and they're cheaper.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you for permission to get this done. And I'll answer any questions you have. Is everyone clear on where this is? It's right outside here by Yuko. If you look
Talking
at
about the 4 corners.
4 corners.
our 4 corners on this side, yeah.
Coming in off Okeechobee.
Right, so you'll have Wellington, Berkshire, Camden, Windsor.
I would have to, if this is the picture,
That's the picture.
doesn't look like it's terribly faded out.
It's not terribly faded out, but it's not reflective, and neither was the other one. It's a safety thing. If you wanted to let it go for a year, it could go.
What's the street over here on this side?
If you look at the picture,
Over here, opposite Windsor S, what's the street?
that's South Drive, so
So that's, I just wanted to know.
so
what
Wellington
that's
on the
saying.
bottom and Berkshire on the top.
So it's right out here, Four Corners we're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just came in.
My
Right, two
thinking here
crosswalks.
is that if we do one main intersection a year, by the time we get back around to
What's the cost?
low bid was 2165.
2,165?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, American dollars,
What budget line item is this coming out?
maintenance.
Have that in there?
That's, you tell me, yes.
No idea.
It doesn't come under beautification then?
Yeah.
No.
As much as I think reflective striping is beautiful, no, I won't think it would come out of, yes, sir.
How long has the striping been down?
In the last job?
Yeah, the last job that I'm looking at right now.
Oh, the one, this was, I believe, 2014, this was a Fausto job.
This was
the
a
last one.
Fausto,
Right,
yes.
I remember him doing that.
So say 14, 15, and it was done with standard DOT paint.
That was the problem.
You compare the two areas, it's literally night and day. It's just not as reflective, so.
This year.
Donald, also very important, the ratio of accidents that have been taking place, I know on that corner, I'm one of the residents, my building isn't indicated here. But I can look right out my kitchen window and see the cops there every day, practically, pulling people over. I think that if we have these visible signs and lightage, it will maybe help them to realize that there are stop signs there and that they have to obey them too. And I think the sooner we get it in, the better. Because
My
I
big,
know that there's been 3 accidents, I think, in the last couple of
they
months
have,
there.
and my biggest concern with this particular intersection is that the north stop bar, which is going towards Yuko,
Right,
there's been incidents where cars stop at the stop line and then cruise into the crosswalk. So it's just I just thought it'd be a good idea to make this as visible as possible.
right.
Is there a paved walkway going further than the painted crosswalk?
No,
That's on the other side of the street.
no, that dead ends at
Yeah.
a bus stop.
Right.
That's the only reason for that crosswalk to be there,
Yeah.
is to be able to get to that
To
Wellington
the bus
stop sign,
Okay.
which is hardly ever used, but
Yeah.
there it is. I think if I had been around when we put that stop sign at
Yeah.
that bus stop there, I would have said why.
Excuse me.
There it is. Yes, Darla?
There's too much stuff there.
I will tell you that the thermoplastic, when this came up in 2014, I had done a lot of research on different striping. The county uses thermoplastic. Yes, it does crack, but the visibility is there, which is much better and we should be using in this community. And if you do so much at a time, because that paint is just gonna fade away like it did now. Talking about only 4 years ago and look what happened.
But it not only fades, the cars driving over it, the friction is gonna
That's
just
it, right
it's
away.
blade.
right off the
Right,
off the
absolutely.
surface.
Yes, and now I looked for that at the last, is there some ablation there? Yeah, there is, but it's not significant, and it's a full year later. So my thinking here is if we do one main intersection per year and work our way around the clock,
Yeah,
it'll be 5 years before we get to,
using thermoplastic.
Yeah.
Does it have the glass beads in it?
yeah.
Oh, good, okay.
And then I figure by the time we get around the clock, we'll be back to where we started over by Century
Mhm.
Boulevard
It should have been done to begin with,
on a
you're right.
on a 5-year cycle.
They use old Pepsi Cola bottles.
Yeah, that's right,
That's
you're right.
Yeah. 10 full ounces, that's a lot.
I'm making a motion to accept the striping with thermoplastic with glass beads for $2,165.
You want the cheaper one, not the expensive one?
I'll second.
I'm joking.
No, you're joking.
Fine line striping.
I'll second that.
David Bowie.
Discussion.
Discussion.
David has a question.
Is this I know where the first one you did, that's close to me, and I know that's heavily used. Is this the second most heavily used
Yes.
area?
Without a doubt,
Or-
yes,
And you said we've only run a test on the other one for 1 year,
approximately a year, yeah.
and you're saying that this right now is not that bad of condition.
It's not, but it's not thermoplastic. So do
And
you
not
wanna add?
reflective.
Yeah, it's not reflective.
I would,
It's not that bad.
I would favor letting a 2-year period go on the thermoplastic one to see how it works after 2 years before we jump into this after 1 year.
Yeah, I agree. You know, that thermoplastic, the beading, when you got so many cars and trucks going over it, you will lose the beading. I just like to see it over 2 years.
I don't think the beading is something spread on the top surface, I think it's
Well,
integral.
It's
Yeah,
embedded,
it's
it's
mixed,
embedded in
right.
the
It's
paint.
embedded with it, but
No.
it will
You're
pull.
not gonna lose it.
Has there been some ablation since in the year? Yeah, a little bit, but not so much that I wouldn't wanna do it again. And it's been a full year with it, in our most trafficked intersection.
Doesn't the vendor have specs on the longevity of this stuff?
Oh, yeah, I think they guaranteed it for 5 years, isn't he?
At least, yeah.
Yes.
When we were researching
some- yeah.
thermoplastic
That's
on a
fine.
main road, and a matter of fact, I don't know who I went with, we went down to the traffic department over here. I forget, the guy is retired now, cause we wanted to know what they used on the main roads here, and this is what they use.
David?
I have to ask, is there money for this? What
Yes,
line
that's what I
item-
was gonna ask.
What line item does this come out of?
I'd say maintenance and,
Do you have the money?
How far ahead or behind are we on spending that line?
as of
No,
last month, I believe we were behind, is that correct?
Behind?
Yeah, I think.
In old projects, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
We are
That's
behind.
not maintenance.
You got a motion on the floor.
I second it.
The one thing I see, Donald, is that on the thermoplastic, it says that when applicable, they remove, that before any new thermoplastic pavement, the markings are reapplied, that they remove the ones that are there, the existing ones. Do they do that with the other company, gonna do that?
Yeah, they did do some grinding the last time, I remember this, but remember, we're going from regular DOT paint to thermoplastic.
Right,
So yeah, there's some surface preparation there,
because I don't see it in the other one, I see it in that one, but I don't see it.
kind of part of the job, yeah.
I presume that you'll be watching over that to make sure it's applied properly, because there are some things about how it's applied when they put it down.
I watched them do it the last time,
Okay,
So-
that's all I'm asking.
and
There's
it's the
also
same
weather
vendor, so,
conditions.
but yeah,
Wow, yeah.
We're in the middle of a rainy season, so you
Yeah.
put it down in the rain.
that actually happened, because it was rainy season when we did it the last time, when we had to push the job off for
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Well, that's what you would do, sure, okay.
I love watching guys do stuff like
Right,
this,
like
so
I said,
yes, I
You're
would
just,
be watching.
what you're saying though is that Fine Line is saying that they're gonna do it, but they don't have it here in their contract, right? Whereas the other one does,
Well, if they don't do it, I don't pay, Joy.
huh?
If they don't do the job right, I don't pay.
No.
Who made the motion? John Bragg seconded it.
I did.
Okay, all right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know some of this research has been done before I joined the committee, so, but it's the question whether or not we need a reflective surface or whether or not we want this specific type of reflective. Are there other reflective surfaces to choose from? Or is this
Well,
the,
question number
either
one
or.
is this a want or a need? This is a want.
okay,
Okay, we're not under any, we don't have to have this.
We don't need.
okay,
All right, the second question is, yeah, when this came up last year and in previous years, there's two different methods of striping. One is just standard DOT paint, which does have a degree of reflectivity to it.
Okay.
Thermoplastic is it's a different process. They put it on with a special machine. It's
It's
heated.
melted in there.
It's kind of melted into the asphalt, best I could describe it. And there's like a two-dimensional asset to it that's kind of like crystals, best I can
Okay.
describe it. And when the light hits it from this way, it's more reflective.
okay,
It's just that simple.
thank you.
Shall we take a vote? Okay, David Israel,
Yes.
Ed Black,
You went to,
Here.
Out of the
that's
room.
fine.
you went to check the
Joy
money.
Vestal,
Yes,
David Boaz,
No.
Stuart Richland,
No.
Barbara Cornish,
Yes,
John Hess,
Yes.
Sandra Cooper,
No,
Herb Finkelstein,
No,
Donna Cronaja, yes. Tony Salamino, Waywood Williams,
wayward.
Yes,
wait,
sort of.
John Gregg.
Yes.
Donald Foster, you're not voting.
I
So
don't.
we have 2, 4, 7, 7 yeas and 4 nays. So it carries.
What's next on the hit list?
And the time is 10:35.
We did striping, how about painting?
What do we do about FIBA? It's 10:30, you got work.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
Sorry, anything else you wanna
I got one question.
address? Okay, yes?
If Ed comes back, we
Yeah,
don't
the
have the money, then this vote.
We have the money.
We have the money.
Alright.
But I would
We
recommend
have
in
the
future,
money.
when that kind of thing comes forward, look, there's something like that for your presentation.
Okay.
So should we add Ed to the?
Ed, you wanna vote on this?
Okay,
He said not necessary.
alright. Eva? Are you all?
Being very patient.
Oh, well, I crashed your meeting, so,
Feel free to question.
you know, in looking at this, I have to say that the handwriting on the, Martin Fence bid, to me, I'm thinking that the actual amount is 23,000, not 33,000. But the numbers, the way they write them are very odd. We're gonna call and confirm that, that would explain,
Wait
or
a
it would,
Closer.
I see 14,850 plus permanent feet.
that is for,
Alpha.
Alpha. But if you go back, keep going, a couple more
I'm
pages, and you
going, I'm
look at the amounts, the way they write their numbers. It could be a 3, but to me, I think it's actually a 2, 2, 3, 23,
That looks like a 2 to me.
It could be a
Doesn't it?
23, yes.
I think Asia misread it as a 33, so I think, so the
It could
amounts
be a
are
23.
I agree, if you look at the phone number, there's a
exactly,
two.
that's
the same
right,
way
and
the
that's
two.
the phone
Yeah.
number. Alright, and then of course, that does not include the permit fees, and they just charge us whatever the county charges them, they don't, build that up.
So what we're saying is instead of 33,989,
It's actually
23,
23.
which is still $9,000 more
7,000.
approximately.
Look, Martin, there's nothing wrong with Martin Fence, they do a good job, they've been around for years. But why pay more when we have a company that does a good job for us and has been doing all of the fence? And this way also, it's all gonna look the same as we go around the village and change out all the fences, so that's I'm asking the bid committee, that I would prefer Alpha. And you can look at it and take a vote this month, or it can wait till next month, there's no rush, that's
How
entirely
do you
your
feel?
choice. I just need to know so I can put it on the agenda for the ops committee so they can,
Yeah, so we can discuss it, that's next Tuesday.
Yeah.
yes,
Fine. Alright, we'll put it on the agenda.
okay, put it on the agenda, alright, and I'll say
I'd like
thank
to
you.
ask just a minor question here, but what is the purpose of this fence? Is it
It's to replace.
to need, is it required around the pool to keep
Yes.
Yes.
We have a
people out
fence.
of, there is a statute, a Florida
Yeah.
statute that
Yes.
says it has to be this
Have
high.
to be
High.
enclosed and everything.
Correct, and what we have there now is chain link that has been
Yep.
there for years, is rusted and is just,
Okay.
it just really,
Eyesore.
it's an eyesore. We're in the
Okay.
process of beautifying all the pool areas, and so it was decided that we would slowly, maybe one pool a year,
Yep.
and replace the fence and go around all the WPRF pools. So this
This
would
doesn't
be,
include the private pools.
no,
which
this
means I'm
is
in
just
trouble.
WPRF pools.
Cause mine's a wreck.
Barbara?
Make a motion to recommend this to us.
Yes, I'll second that one.
You wanna recommend a vendor?
Alpha.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Now we have discussion, I have a question. I know this is in the budget, but your budget, are you over budget or will this be okay to pay?
This will be okay to pay.
Because I know that we ran over budget on other than ops, and I didn't know if this kind of money would be needed to fulfill other things on the budget.
There are other things I think that Dan has looked at and decided that he might do without.
Okay,
To
that's
make up
what,
the difference.
that's what I'm asking,
Do you have
because I know
the
we're
statute
over.
that this,
Correct.
these fences have to be?
I'll find it for you, it's 8:20.
Dave Boaz got a question.
We get a chance.
Does anybody here on
Another
this
fence
committee
on mine,
ever use the Dorchester pool?
doesn't mean it, I'd like to go and see what it is.
I'm not on the committee, I'm a guest.
Or just tell me the number.
I've been over there, I don't
Yeah.
use Camden Pool, but I've been over there at Dorchester Pool.
I go there usually on Saturday or Sunday morning, either one. And I think the condition of the fence is still in good repair.
Oh, you've looked at the fence, David?
I'm not, it may not be the prettiest thing in the world, but I don't think it's rusting apart or falling down.
Which pool is this for?
I just don't think it's an
Dominic.
expense that's necessary.
Dorchester?
John?
I don't think, even if it's not falling down, like a lot of things happen, you know, you don't wanna fix it till it's like a wreck. It's the aesthetic of the village that you're looking at. You know, if you wanna stay in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, let it stand. But if you wanna modernize this place and let it look eye appealing, eye curve, whether it's inside the village or the perimeter of the village, it should be done, you know? We should upgrade, you know? That's why I pay my amenities.
Well, I think also, you know, you have realtors driving around potential buyers.
That's
This is
right.
something that's easily seen and it's, look, is it functional? David's right, it's absolutely functional.
And
But
the
it's-
shrubbery around it is kept very nice.
It's rusted and you know, we discussed at one point with the committee that we'll just get my guys out there and we'll try to spray paint it black. But honestly, that's work intensive and it's close to 50 years old and it's just time, as you say, to upgrade and to continue to, I'm sorry?
I didn't say that.
No, not that, I'm looking at John, but I'm looking at John when I say that.
Yeah, it's a time to upgrade.
Right, and the committee agreed, that's why they gave us the money to start.
And
Is the Dorchester pool one of the smaller pools?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is,
We
so
started
in
with this-
relation to the Camden pool, it's a much smaller pool because
Correct.
that Camden fence has had it for years
Yeah.
now. I mean,
The-
they have
the
never been
Camden
able to
fence-
figure out getting in
Kent
and
is
then getting
terrible.
out,
Yes.
right? I know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Barbara?
I have a question. What made you determine to do Dorchester when Camden and I don't use the pools, but Camden and Kent seem the most biggest used pools of all, that you wouldn't do the fencing there first? That people see. I mean, Camden is well used, am I right?
Absolutely, the
Yeah.
biggest one in the village. Yeah.
The cost difference,
You have to really try to
I was
find.
gonna say if you're budgeting
Dorchester,
for so
half
much
the
a
people don't know
year.
where it is. I do, cause I took a bus ride. But other than that, it's not as visible as your other pools, like Joyce said. Camden is very visible, Kent is very visible, all from your main, I mean, Kent you see all the time on, because it's right off the main road.
Right.
John?
Camden's twice as big,
So it's
twice as
twice
much,
as expensive.
twice as much as expensive, so it has to be put in the budget for the following
Right,
year.
that's what,
Well, I will say that we chose Dorchester because there were some other big projects that year. And so Dorchester, the
Yeah, that
fencing is
makes
one of the
sense.
last things to be done. At Kent Pool, we still have to do the deck, we have to put in the 4-foot paver perimeter around the pool. We have to remove the shrubbery over there,
Why would you remove that shrubbery? It gives privacy to the people swimming in that Kent pool.
it's in terrible condition.
Some of it's spent.
It's not that we wouldn't replace it, but that's the point.
Oh,
We
oh, okay.
replace it.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
But now we're talking a price tag of maybe
Big buck.
$60,000,
Okay.
where this
Right.
was just something small
A
that we
small
could
amount,
slip in. And this was something that we actually
Okay.
killed from the
Yeah.
prior budget
That
because we
makes
had the,
sense.
When you
Cooling
did the
towers.
Dorchester pool about 4 years ago,
yes,
you found that the ficus had gone all the way to the wall of the pool.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
I remember
good
that.
one.
Yeah.
It's the truth, Dominic.
Yes, David?
Something that concerns me here is that just because it's in the budget, do we have to spend it?
Government tease from the 60s and 70s, spend it or lose it.
Yes, yeah.
I remember that.
Amen.
Been through that one. Well, it goes into the general thing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I think what you're saying is because it's a beautification project, it would be cheaper to do it at Dorchester and then we can show it off.
And then go further.
And then go forward from that point and say to people, this is what we can do to make your area look better.
Well,
And this is what it'll cost, obviously, but still, it's a sales point.
It is.
Barbara?
Most people who saw what you did up at the clubhouse loved the way it looks. I
Yes.
mean, everybody, I haven't heard one negative thing about it yet.
Everybody loves it when it's done. It's
Yeah,
very
when
nice.
it's done, yeah.
Meanwhile, you're taking the mayor when, when you're doing it.
Can we call
Well,
a
that's
vote?
Shall we
like
call,
David.
yeah, ready?
Yeah.
David,
Yes.
Ed Black,
The fence.
You're voting for the, okay, if I may just put my 2 cents in here. You're voting for a vendor not to keep or kill the project. That's not the job of the bid committee. It is strictly the job of the bid committee to choose a vendor, and then it goes to the ops committee, and it's the ops committee that has the option of killing them.
So we're voting for Alpha Fence to do the job at Dorchester
Right.
Pool, 6-foot fence around the.
I'll say yes.
Joey Vestal,
Yes.
David Boaz,
No.
Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Barbara Cornish.
Yes,
John Hess.
Yes.
Sandra Cooper,
Yes,
Herb Finkelstein,
No.
Tom Grenaggi, yes. Haywood Williams?
Yes. Thank you.
John Bragg?
Yeah.
And we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 yeas, 2 nays. It carries.
Thank you
Thank you.
all for letting me
Eva,
finish.
excuse me. Eva, I'm sorry to ask you this, but one of our agenda items is automatic door openers for this building. And it occurred to me that your building's full of these. Would you mind staying for the discussion on this? Because you actually work with these things.
Sure.
And they're brand new to us.
Okay, I'll be happy
It's okay?
to, yeah.
Thank you. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna skip the agenda a couple of shots and go up to automatic door openers for 2102 West Drive. We have 2 bids on 2 different manufacturers. One is Stanley Door, which is the product that's used in the clubhouse, and that's where we started. This was a referral from Dan, actually. And the other is for a product called Napco, which I got from another property manager here in the area. The approach is about the same, but the mechanism for the 2 openers are different. One involves a screw drive, and that would be Stanley, and the other is a chain drive. I asked Hayward to take a look at this from an engineering perspective and give a report which he thinks is better, besides one is more expensive than the other. I'm gonna give it to Hayward now.
Okay, well, the object here was to ease the access into this building. Originally, I guess we weren't gonna do the first floor opening, but we decided to go with that because a lot of people use it. And not just us, not just the people who work here, but there are people in and out who use walkers and scooters that need the access to make it easier for them. So that was what we did. We went around, we looked at it. We said we could redo the whole thing and do sliding glass doors and make it look like a supermarket and make it really slick, but that's expensive. The next best idea was to use the existing doors and put swing operators on them, which involves a pressure plate. We could get the overhead sensors, makes it open whenever somebody gets close to it, but the pressure plates are easier and they're accessible to everybody. You see them saw them on the building that used to be Macy's down at City Place, where you'd hit the pressure plate and the door would open. It was far enough away from the door so you couldn't be hit by the thing, which is the other big problem. You have to have the safety features in there that you can't be hit by the door when it's opening, and if there's somebody there or you stop to talk or something else, the door can't close on you and scoot you through the opening. So those are the 2 big problems there. The cost difference between Stanley, which I finally found out, I got some specifications for either one of them if you'd like to go through them. Basically, the Napco has a motor, and it has a bevel gear, and then it has a chain which actually drives the swing arm that opens the door. Stanley has a worm gear and a rack and pinion that's driven. That's basically the 2 differences. According to the people that Don talked to, the Napco is quieter, but I don't think that that's a real problem here, that it would affect the price. We decided on 5 doors, the front door.
5.
that's all we wanted.
1 exterior, 4 interior.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
We're doing this as accommodation, we're not required, but we have a great worker here, and we wanna make life easy for her. works in the IT room, which is next to David's room.
Mhm.
I have talked to Sandra. When you come out of the IT room, go down the hall where David Bowis's office is and Tony's, there's a door.
Mhm.
That door should be definitely automatic.
Mhm.
Okay, entrance to the building, whichever door you select,
Yeah.
should be automatic.
That's true.
And the swing, the half wall, that should be, not the wall taken out, the swing door should be placed somewhere else. So she can come out of the IT, hit the automatic button, come through the door and come right out to the main office. Am I correct, Sandra?
That's a little different than what we
No,
discussed during the.
I'm just saying, can you handle that?
Well, I wanna interject here right now.
Oh, no.
This is, I'm sorry, this is an issue for the community. And I think it's inappropriate to actually put,
Okay, I won't use
put,
Sandra
put the
then.
user on the carpet.
Okay, I'll go for the community, okay? That would mean the front door will be done, am I right?
Yes, that would be the
Okay.
exterior.
I'm all for that.
These two doors here by the desk where we go in and out does not have to be done. Because if anybody comes in the back, an officer comes out to get them and opens the door for them.
Okay, we do have one situation where a user who works in the building, works in the barcode area, will need access to the barcode area. Remember that we're doing this for two reasons. One is for the general public, and one is for the people that work here. For the people that work here, person has to be able to access all areas of the building as if there were no handicap.
Right,
So,
and I don't
for
know
ins-
who works
so-
in the barcode area.
So for instance, if a person with a disability needed to work in the barcode area, and people do, they would need to be able to get into the barcode area, and there are two doors to do that, and neither of those doors can be removed.
Excuse me, if you come out the way I just said, and I'll be
Right.
glad to show you, the one door, which I don't know why that has to be done, but if you say it does, that one door brings you right in the barcode area, not the one behind it, that's to the inter-office.
Yes.
So I don't know why you would even do that door.
So-
What
so
I'm
Jimmy-
trying to say is, Donald, let me finish, is that I can't see doing 5 doors when you can do 3 or 4.
Well,
Why
if you
5?
look at it a different way, what you're proposing is that a single person restrict themselves to a single way to get through the building.
No, I'm making an accommodation for anybody.
Can I say something also? Because I know that we've been concentrating on mostly on Sandy and the wheelchair. But
No,
I've also been in this building for several years and I'm handicapped as well.
That's exactly my point,
And
Joy.
that's, I agree with what Donald is saying. Not only that, but you're gonna have more traffic coming through that door where the barcode is because, and Eva, I wanted to talk to you about this personally before, but we will be, the reporter office will be in there. They're gonna have traffic and outside traffic come in there.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have advertisers and people walking into that office as well. So it's not only, I mean, to go out and go around, I don't care, I can go out and go around if I have to. But I would prefer to be able to go straight through too and get into, people, it's very pleasant right now, our receptionist, when somebody comes in to see me, they bring them in to me rather than me having to go out and bring them in because they know it's more difficult for me to do this, so that's the point of having the door there too.
David and then Bob.
The bush we're dancing around is called ADA compliance.
Right.
Mhm.
Right,
And when you get an inspector in here and you say something to him like, we have made one route available for ADA compliance, he's gonna laugh in your face.
Right. Exactly right.
right,
And I don't want to influence people on this. By the time you're making done, this building ADA compliant, you're gonna spend well in excess of $10, $12, $15,000. And you wanna talk about the clubhouse and the surrounding infrastructure and pools ADA compliant? I just don't, I happen in a sense to agree with you, but you're saying you got one route in here if you have a deficit.
No.
And I don't know if code's gonna allow you to do that.
No.
They would require the rest to be done.
Yes.
Barbara had a hand up and then you
I
go.
just wanna say, I work in the office in the back, David works in the back. If there was a fire, we only have we have no windows to get out of.
That's right.
Just like you're on the second floor, no way to get out. When this building was built, it was built according to code then. There's no one saying we have to change it to ADA requirements now. Am I correct, Donald?
No, not that I'm
We
aware
are
of.
doing it as an accommodation to people in general.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. We are not required by law to do it. Don't go under that concept. We are
Unless-
not.
Somehow we
unless you
skirted
make a
ADA.
change.
I think we skirted ADA.
I'm amazed
ADA
that-
came into effect in 1974.
Yeah, I'm,
Therefore, the buildings throughout the village are not supposed to be compliant.
Unless you come in
But once
change
once you
and
do
make a
something,
change.
Once you make a change,
Exactly.
the change, the whole system has to be changed.
that's correct.
this is why, excuse me, Donald, this is why I said, right now, we have the door open, okay? I don't wanna go into discussion, and we have ways of getting around. I don't mind spending $15,000 if you wanna do it, but you're opening a can of worms. Let's take the clubhouse. You have those doors at all the bathrooms, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, in the different rooms in the clubhouse, you do not have those
The
doors.
swimming pool door, the swimming.
No, but you don't have it in classroom C, you
Right,
don't
right,
have it in A, you
right,
don't have it in B, you don't have it in the card room, I can go on and on, because you're not required to, am I correct? Okay, we are in the same position. If you wanna do this to accommodate people in general, and you wanna spend this money and you say that, I don't mind. But don't tell me this is ADA required, it is not right now. That's the only thing, tell the truth, that's all.
to my mind, given the makeup of our community, when this building was built in 2006, it should have been a no-brainer to make this accessible.
But it wasn't required.
Well, whether it was required or not is not my question. My question is, when we built this building, and none of us were here, well, some of us were, given the makeup of our community and the need, shouldn't we have done this when the building was built? We didn't, and we're basically backtracking now.
I don't wanna say anything, but they shouldn't even have built this building.
Well, that's a whole
Well,
other
then we don't
argument,
go
but.
into
I know.
That's another affair.
Question for Eva, you have fire doors in the corridors at the clubhouse.
Correct,
They remain open until there's an alarm and then they close.
correct.
Why does that door have to remain closed then?
Which door?
The door that
The fire door?
isolate, the fire door that
Yeah.
isolates the back end of the.
We have it
You're gonna have
open.
insurance, you've gotta have the ability to say those fire doors closed to cut down the risk for it spreading. Because if you don't have those doors closing, the insurance company's gonna say, I'm
Yes.
not paying for that, you should have had the door shut.
But it's cheaper to have an electric holder on the door to let the door close rather than have it open 16 times a day.
That's what I'm talking about, Donnie.
And keep in mind that our fire doors are 1 hour rated fire doors, which I think is the lowest level
It
fire
is the
door there
lowest.
is. So the requirement
The
would
door
now.
over here turns out to have a fire rated door jam, but the door itself isn't
It's
fire
not,
rated.
yeah.
That's because they put up whatever doors they wanted, where they wanted, nobody checked it.
See, leaving this fire door open with a chop
Is allowable.
is very convenient, but it's not legal. That's a fire door.
Didn't you just say it's okay to
It
keep a
is
door?
legal if you tie
Yes.
it into the
Yes.
the
Yeah.
system,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
then it's a magnetized
Electromagnet.
system, and when the alarm goes off,
So
the
does the
doors
electricity
will
set
and
it
will
off
shut.
and the
So
door
if you have
closes.
an electromagnet on that
Yes.
door, Dominic, okay, and you keep it open, a fire starts, it automatically closes, there's no problem then, am I right?
And we also,
Correct.
Right,
But
We-
we
It's
don't
approved
have.
unless you jam it
we don't have
Yeah.
that. And there are other considerations for those doors being closed as well. One is security. We wanna keep that door closed because we don't want any dingling walking in there, and sometimes they do. And
Everybody
and the
walks
other
in
thing
there.
is simply privacy and quiet in the executive area. We tried to keep that door closed as much as possible and for good reason.
I will say that if you have an operator on these doors, like Stanley, they can be opened manually.
Yeah.
In other words, if you're caught on the wrong side of the fire door, you wanna get out and leave the fire back in, but your real concerns are getting yourself out,
One
and that
last-
can be done.
Yeah, one last question, this price does not include electric,
It
does it?
does not, and I do not
Okay.
have a price on that.
So it can go over.
It will go over
Over
this is just to have the,
$15,000.
So this is gonna
Fine.
require two contractors, an electrical contractor.
I know, I just want it brought to the table so
Stamp.
people know.
Okay.
I did just wanna mention about the ADA, and that there is such a thing called reasonable accommodation. So if a
Reasonable,
reasonable
that's-
accommodation has been made, you should be okay. It is the position of our legal department that it's always good to stay ahead of the ADA and be in control of the decisions you're making on how you're going to be compliant. Because if someone complains and the ADA steps in, then they can dictate, and all you can do is follow their dictates, where if you take the lead position, you're in control of what you decide should be done.
Yeah, but they're also happier if you've got most of it. There's only one or two other things they have to fix.
Right.
It's a whole lot better way to face what you've gotta go through to be ahead of the curve. So if we're doing all the spots we think should be done, you're not gonna have any complaints.
You know, and listen, our definition of reasonable might be different than what the ADA thinks is
That's
reasonable.
usually the case.
And that's usually.
Yeah.
Eva, can you tell us something about the maintenance of these things, because you're maintaining a lot of these things.
We have Stanley doors.
Right.
And you know, those front doors, I can't even count how many
Now
times
they're
they're
talking
open,
about the
they
bathroom
open.
doors with the push.
Oh, the push button?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really, it's been trouble-free. It really has been
Well, that's good
trouble-free.
news.
That's a good news.
There's not a lot, we're not calling them, you know, it's more for the actual doors that open in front of the clubhouse.
Eva, are your push plates wireless or are they wired to the unit?
I believe they're wired.
They're wired.
They're
These-
right on the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these
they're
these will
wireless. They can be
actually be on
wireless,
the wall, but they're going to be wireless. They're like basically got a battery in them and a radio.
Interesting.
So somebody has to change the battery
Which-
once a year.
Yeah, that, and also we have the option of moving them around.
That's a property manager.
It gives us,
We'll put it on his, when he changes the batteries in his
Change
fire.
the he'll change the battery.
Change the
what I
box.
liked about the wireless push plates is that if we don't like the position of them, they're movable.
Yeah.
You can even velcro them to the walls, they don't,
That's interesting.
They also have a time element, don't they, Eva, where if there is a wheelchair that has to go through the doorway, if there's a time element that
Yes.
stays
Yes.
open long enough
Yes.
to
Automatic, so that you
accommodate.
can
Yes, and that is
have-
adjustable.
In other words, they don't open when you push the button and slam right away shut
No,
before you
they
get
go
in there.
slow.
And that's important too.
there is a
People
sensor
don't-
in all of these
These are
doors.
things that the average person takes for granted, I don't take for granted any longer,
Hey,
so.
let's say that again.
They have, the time that it stays open is adjustable.
It is.
Right.
So we can set that
Mhm.
to whatever the maximum necessary is. And it's not like the snow is gonna blow in, so. Now, there is one door that I think we might wanna look at, and that is the one going into the barcode area. There's no reason for that to be a fire door, because you got the big open area right next to it. And that could perhaps be a half door swinging door.
Half door. Then we'd have to put in like a Dutch door?
Yeah, like the one that's already out there. If you wanna move that one, you can put that in there. It saves us one door with an operator.
If
So that's 20%
if
saving.
that's a fire door,
That's a fire door.
they won't let you do this.
He's
Well,
good.
he's talking about the one that you open to go
Front
into
half.
where the people sit.
It shouldn't be a fire door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's,
that's not
open
the
space
It
there,
is-
so
It's the
Right.
next one.
that's
Yeah,
a
the next
fire
one
door.
is definitely
That's
necessary.
the fire door.
That's a fire door, and that does the security part and the noise part for the office area.
Absolutely.
So that one's gotta be there, but I was thinking the one going into the barcode area, if you gotta make it a big door and then you gotta put an opener on it, that's an extra expense. You know, we could save 20% on the deal doing that.
One of the issues that came up with that particular door was right now it has lock on it. It can be locked from the inside. And we thought about taking off that lock and put a standard passage lock on it. But then when we sat and thought about it, we said, wait a minute, these things are where they are for a reason. You have people in the barcode area. If we get a lunatic in the lobby,
They shoot them right across the desk.
well, there's that too.
Yeah.
But you wanna
Geez,
be able,
got a
you wanna be
whole-
able for
You
them.
wanna put glass there?
Yeah,
You
that's
can.
good. You wanna be able them to just go, press the button, and that door's locked, and that gives them time to move into the
But
executive area.
again, like we advised you, you're gonna be having more traffic through that door than you've had before, because you're gonna have a whole new office staff inside there.
Yeah, kinda hadn't thought of that,
We're
but
gonna
yeah.
have people coming in and out more frequently than you think they do.
David?
I was here when that door was put in.
Mhm.
And I know exactly why the door was put in. we had a number of individuals who thought they could roll in here anytime they want and steal cokes and other things out of the break room,
You talking about the half door?
alright?
No, he's talking about the half door.
Talking about the half door, that's why it was put in. Occasionally, people wander in here. Now, I consider it a security issue. I don't want people wandering around in the back offices. You got some certifiable crazies in this village. And they should not have unrestricted access to the back office areas.
And yet you can't walk people that are limited in their ability of mobility,
I agree.
you have to climb over those things.
So, what you need to find out, maybe you had a nice chat with this vendor, before we jump for anything, is when the inspectors come in, will they let you get away with partially ADA-ing this building?
Thank you.
Partially.
That's gonna happen.
And rather than go blanket every door in the building, let's see what we need to do to make access easier
Let
Or-
them come in and tell you.
for folks with deficits.
Once again, we're prepared to do it as an accommodation.
Yes,
Leave ADA out of it,
correct.
right? I mean, if we bring in a county inspector and say, tell us what you need to do, he's gonna tell us, this is what he was talking
That's what
about.
they're gonna do, they'll
That's what
let
they're
you
gonna
know.
do, they're gonna let you know.
And
but-
then you'll be ADA compliance in here.
Let the
Right.
vendor work that for you.
That
Well,
may
yeah,
not be
that's-
the only thing they tell you though.
Well, whatever they tell us, we have to
Because you
do.
have
We-
places outside where people are trying to get two arms that are not electrically set up.
I mean, this came up in both
Well,
cases,
they'll
I was
tell us.
asked right off the top, are you looking to make this building ADA compliant? My answer was no. My answer was, I'm looking to accommodate at first a single person, and then as many other people that I think
Well,
are
that's
gonna.
making it ADA if you're talking about everybody in the village.
But basically, I was
Also-
being asked, do you wanna do the whole building, or you just wanna do what and the answer was, no, I just wanna do this.
Well, you have the front door being done, what about the back door?
Originally, that was the plan, we were just only going to do the back door. But then when we discussed it, we said, you know what, the front door serves more people,
Right.
so if we're gonna
The
spend the
village
money,
it serves,
right.
correct,
where the back door is employees only,
right,
so that's how we shifted it to the front door.
okay, that makes sense.
I just would like to know how much the electrical end of this is gonna be. How are you gonna vote on a door and not know the full
And
value?
on 5 doors.
Well, how much money we're gonna
Right.
spend?
Yeah.
This is not complete. I'm not voting for anything until I get
But
the
it's
electrical.
complete enough to know the number of places you're looking to do this, what the cost would be by 2 vendors, and we gotta get the rest of it before the project's approved.
Right, so why?
This is a step
why-
forward.
I'd rather have ADA come in and do whatever they tell us.
Not a big fan of wireless communications for certain applications. It's marvelous, it's convenient. But for life safety, if someone has to push a plate to escape through a door,
Batteries dead.
no batteries.
Right, wired is the only way to go,
Batteries.
you're
Alright,
right.
so you wanna-
It's gotta be hard.
No batteries.
Should be hot wired,
Okay,
It should be wired to mains.
absolutely.
Now, modern smoke detectors, I hasten to note, have both.
Yeah,
They're wired to mains
Wired
and
and
have a battery
battery
backup.
Which backs up the electrical.
Yeah, exactly. But don't depend solely on batteries.
alright, so should this proposal be altered to include wired like what we have in the clubhouse?
will that be more money?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
okay, I'm just, I
Sure.
don't know
Well, I
anything
believe the
about
push plates themselves can be wired either way, you could use the RF version of it, so you hit it, it has a battery, works. But there are contacts inside that you can hardwire through if you wanna do that. So it'll be either or
Either
thing.
or.
I came upon that when I was.
You're just saying a delayed installation of electricity.
Yeah.
You put a battery, then you don't do electric, and then later on, when you have money, you can electrify it.
What I really wanna do here is, can we make a decision on which product you want to go on? And then I can go for an electrical bid.
Now, you've gotta make a decision on whether you, and I still say you're talking about ADA compliance, whether you wanna do all the doors involved or just certain pathways. Certain pathways will be cheaper. I'll bet you dollars to donuts, the county won't let you get away with it. I don't think so.
I think you should ask ADA to come in and ask them, if we decide to do something, what is required? Let's find out what's
Can
required
you
by
be
them.
more specific
And
of what you
maybe it
mean?
won't be as much as you think.
Can you
They
be
can
more
find
specific about your suggestion, let ADA come in, what exactly does that mean?
Well, can you call them and tell them, if we wanna make this ADA compliance, this office, what would you suggest we have to do that?
Whoa.
I think they ask you,
Yeah,
you put it together and then they say,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Alright, so
yes,
then you
yes,
show them your
forgot this,
5
you forgot
doors.
that.
You're
And see
basically,
what
you're
they
basically
say.
asking if
We
we
did
should
that
hire
on
an
the
engineer that specializes in this type of work. Am I right?
No, I'm not saying hire an engineer.
I just renovated the 2 bathrooms in the west pool at Wellington.
Right,
And I did it as an accommodation, and they
accommodation.
I said, within the building structure, I can't make everything ADA
Right.
accessible. I can come
The
close, and they
bathrooms,
said,
right.
fine. You were here before ADA and fair housing.
So in other words, we can do whatever we want to make accommodation, we don't have to do it for ADA, is that what we're saying?
Correct.
So then that's why you should think about what doors you wanna do.
Didn't you have a man come out to tell you, you should do the front door, you should do this door, even though we started out with less?
We had 2 vendors come in and do the
Yes,
same
and
thing.
they both upgraded you to say, this is what you should do if you're ADA compliance. For this
I was asked, do you want to make the building fully ADA compliant? My answer was no. I want to do exactly the thing I wanna do.
And they told you to do a couple more doors to make it more compliant.
No,
They didn't.
we worked through it, we basically worked the path, where this person has to go, the restroom, getting back and forth to certain officers, getting in and out of the building. And we came up with 5 total.
But that wasn't our initial number.
Initially, we were looking at 3,
Yeah.
Right.
and then we got to
We've
5.
already had the guidance of the people that do this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is what you should be doing, I don't know what more you need.
And in both proposals, they have to go for permit and get this done, it has to be in there, you know,
And they certainly don't wanna do it if they're gonna be red flag for doing it wrong.
No. in which case, again, I don't pay.
So basically, if we take a vote right now, we're only voting on Stanley versus.
Yeah.
Yapco.
And that's it, we don't know the number, we don't know the
And
cost,
that
and
doesn't
we
mean
don't
we're
know the.
starting yet.
As
No,
Barbara
not
said,
at
what it does is it cuts down the amount of going back and forth with 2 different vendors, trying to figure out
Yeah.
who's saying what to whom. Let's work with one vendor. They've obviously had this question before. And, you know, they have the answers because they've been doing this for a lot of years for a lot of people. Let's find out what they got to do, but let's keep our involvement to the point where it's reasonable on us also.
And then we get the electrician to talk to them as
Yeah.
well, to fine tune so we can come up with.
There are outlets near the units, but I've looked at how much they're being used and according to the code, what you can add to these loads.
Right.
And or whether we have to run another line. For example, NEPCO says you can, it can take up to 10 amps.
In which
But
case,
that means we have to put in a 20 amp service
Right.
because you can, if it's hardwired in the way these will be, you can only have a 50% load on that line. So there are some things we have to look at as far as that goes.
and when this finally would go to the officers for a vote, it'd be an all-in price. At that point, once I know which one you guys are gonna go with, or if you wanna go with it at all, then I would bring the entire job with electricity, you know, all in, good to go.
Good idea.
Okay, to go back to the evaluation that you did on the 2 methods of
Yeah.
opening the doors, did you find advantage or disadvantage between the 2 methods? Not just, I thought that was part of what you wanted to bring to us is to help us decide between the 2 companies, or whether you use.
As far as I could tell, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
Okay.
It's just the way they implemented it.
Okay.
Probably Stanley had the original patent and the other guys had to say,
Okay.
all right, we changed it enough so we can.
So there's not a large difference
No.
in maintenance of the 2 methods or
No.
the
They both have maintenance
repairs or-
agreements you can get and you go through these things and they say,
Okay,
this is what you've gotta do every 6 months or so and
Okay,
it goes
that's-
on and on and on.
So do they both have a trip charge? Cause Stanley has a trip charge.
Yes.
And I
Yep.
know that that's a hot button for Barbara.
Yeah.
They do?
David?
Yeah,
There's something missing here. can't call these vendors in, maybe you say the same thing to both, maybe you don't. Where's the RFP? Where's the statement of work? You gotta write down what you want, folks.
Yeah. And basically there was no RFP, and what we did was we took a lady in a wheelchair and walked her through the building, and then we came to what we wanted, that was, here's our RFP.
When you talk
But you're right.
when you talk to vendors,
Right.
you need to tell them what you want, and you need to tell them all the same thing.
Right.
If you want an apples to apples bid, we ought to write down what we want, we need to decide that. And that's somewhere between a limited path, one limited path, or full up ADA compliance.
So the only variable is the product itself.
Right, it's kind of what we're doing here today.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
And part of what Don did was he brought the vendors in and said, took them around and said, okay, how can we do this? We don't want it ADA totally approved, because that's is a can of worms we don't wanna open.
If you
But-
ask them that, Haywood, if you ask them that, if we wanted all ADA compliant, to get their opinion, what would have to be done? We don't know, cause we didn't ask them that.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Okay,
My
you can
instruction,
ask them that, that's not going to ADA, you're asking a
right,
vendor.
when I was asked that question, my answer was no, I just wanna solve the problem that I have in
But
front of
I'm saying we could ask them that,
me. Okay.
okay.
The basic thing here is we want to accommodate the people coming in the front door, which is a majority of Century Village, and the people that work here. And still stay within the fire codes and electrical codes and the whole rest of the stuff we have to do. But basically, this was let's search and see what we can do, and with two good vendors that have done this before, and find out what it's gonna cost ballpark, and then we'll nail down the electrical costs and everything else to get this done.
And the guy that's working the electrical part's gonna work very closely with whoever we pick.
Yep.
To make sure that everything works when they put it
That's why I
together.
kinda need to know which direction or if we wanna
Yeah,
go.
but that's when you get your RFP detail.
Right, so what I'm pulling out of the committee right this minute is, we have a preference for a wired connection on the push plates rather than radio. Obviously, I'm hearing a detailed written RFP, that goes without saying. And when we bring a final proposal to the officers, it should be all in and include electrical work.
If you've got two good vendors and you've got one with full experience and they've been using Stanley forever, it would almost,
Yeah.
with no problems, it almost makes sense.
The way we got to NAPCO was, I hate coming in here and saying something's a sole source vendor when it really isn't. So I went out to other property managers in the area, and in two cases I got NAPCO, and in one case, this was a property manager at the Breakers Hotel. Why do you like this thing? It's quieter than Stanley, that's all I heard out of it. So I had to bring you two, but they both get the job done.
It's not a bedroom, we don't have to have it quiet. I mean,
It's never quiet in here,
it's
it's never quiet in here
no
anyway.
noisy atmosphere anyway, so.
Most of us can't hear it anyway.
I was just gonna say, what?
Oh, here he is.
John and then Barbara and.
Am I right in hearing that you asked ADA, what can you do to make this?
No,
They
no, I
did?
went and told them what I wanted to do within the confines of what I had. And they said, yes, move the toilet 2 inches further
Right.
away from the wall and that's it.
Are we gonna do that for this?
No, we're not
Well,
moving the
no.
toilet.
No, I'm talking about the
ADA,
ADA, are we doing that for this?
right.
Well, I can compare this to our new building at 5400. The general contractor brought in an inspector from the county and said, how's it look? And in some cases, he said, this is good, move this rail over here, move this, and
Yeah, I was,
there was some stuff. So that's kinda how you do it, you test it, so, you know.
okay.
This vote is not the final, it's gonna connect the bid when you get the total.
We don't know the
Because
price.
you said
All we're doing
it's
is
gonna go to the
selecting a
officers. I
product
don't want it
and
to
then
buy
everything
things.
else becomes part of a word description of it.
No, once I get to go ahead to go, Herb, to answer your question, just once I get to go ahead to go forward with this and you give me one to work with, and I think we know which way it's gonna go,
You can
I'll
find,
call you guys back in again.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I may be able to do that before next Thursday.
this is just to fine tune everything.
So then what we should do now is take a roll call vote on, pick a product, whether it's NAPCO or, so then it's yea or nay, that's all. Shall we?
Have to find it.
Hold on.
We do.
David?
Hayward, can I ask you one question? Since you're the engineer and I was the salesman. What is your professional preference, the gear drive versus the chain drive?
I'd go with the gear drive personally, based on the problems I've had with my bicycle and chain drive.
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, look at the BMW motorcycle, that has a drive shaft instead of a chain. Basically, I think that's a better idea, but as far as reliability and the fact that, do they both work? Yes, they do. And is NAPCO still in business? Yes, they still are, so, it's a personal preference. I like Stanley because I've actually worked with them over the past years, but, and I know their reputation, but NAPCO obviously still has a good reputation also, so, like I said, my preference is Stanley, and they're cheaper.
Price withstanding, I didn't ask you to bring the price in.
Between the two, which is quieter?
Chain drive.
I was told to trade, and this is from a single property manager that has them in a high-end, in a high-end property. I like these because they're quieter, that's all I heard. I've never seen two of them at the same time working, so I, you know.
That's probably because you can fine tune the chain drive a little bit.
Ah, okay, sure.
Gear drive.
But a gear drive pretty much stays in the cogs, keep turning the
Right.
same, and a chain can jump off the,
I'm not sure it can jump off, but there is some play in it.
yeah, there's play.
It goes backwards and forwards, because it has to go backwards to let the door close.
So maybe we need to do research on
Channel stretch too.
maintenance records on both of them.
Right.
Okay.
Barbara?
I know as far as what Eva said, they've had probably no problems
Right.
with Stanley, except that when they come out every time, they charge a trip charge.
Yep.
And I want you to know that's annoying, because they also charge you for the repair plus a trip charge. I'm just saying, it's something to
Yeah.
keep in your mind. Product is more important,
Yeah.
but I think what David said is very important. We're doing 5 doors. Now, we're doing it as an accommodation, am I correct? For the people.
Sure.
Okay, so why not just ask one of these companies, what would we have to do besides that to make it completely ADA here? We're not going to ADA, we're asking the companies, see what they say, they might say 2 more doors and you'll comply. It'd be worth the extra money to get complete compliance.
I don't know how I
If I
feel
were
about
working there
asking
and
the
somebody asked
vendor.
me, I'd say,
Well, you're
2
telling them
more
what
doors.
you want, you're not asking
Yeah,
them
kinda
what
like,
is necessary.
I don't know if the vendor's the right guy to ask.
Well, I don't know.
What do you think?
Donald, who's gonna get the permit to do this?
It would be the, in this case, it would be the electrician, only the electrician will require the permit,
Oh,
not the door openers. They're not, there's no permit there.
No permits for doors?
It would be, no, that's not what
We're
I
using
said.
the same doors.
No, you're extending electrical service, therefore
Yes.
you need a.
So it's only the
permit.
electrician that has to get the permit,
That's
for
correct.
that
Correct.
Stanley door.
You are establishing a relationship with DKK,
Well, we've established a relationship.
well,
Yeah.
maybe you could ask him.
Yeah.
That's what I would go.
Is there any difference on warranties from one company to the next?
Good question. Warranties?
Warranties? I saw a 1-year warranty on one of them, I'm not sure what Stanley was. Was it NAPCO I saw 1 year on their quote?
Ask for 2 and 2 years of free service, so you don't need to go and get hit for service charge.
Yeah.
I don't know what the warranty is. I know there's warranties on
Stanley,
both.
1-year warranty
Yeah.
on parts and labor, price
Okay.
includes.
Doesn't say trip charges.
No,
They
no
all charge
mention.
ship charge.
Work that in.
yeah.
And I don't know on the NAPCO product, but it
Negotiate.
looks like we're getting away from them anyway, so.
Okay, before Herb has to leave, let's take a vote.
Any of
It's almost 11:30, Herb.
What is the vote for?
Pick a product and it's yes or no. I
thought you were
don't think
gonna
any of
check
us
the
are really,
difference in the door
yeah, I
gears
don't
or
know that
something.
we can even do that.
Yeah, because you gotta check the
No,
door
I don't
gears,
think you can.
you gotta check that out.
So I think we have to table it.
Don't you want to, isn't the vote, shall we proceed? with
Yeah.
Exploring this project?
Okay.
And the only major bifurcation I see is, do you want a single path solution? Or do you want to ADA the whole building?
So that's it, either single
So-
path or ADA, am I right?
Yes.
And pick a company so I can direct the electrician, because I can't ask him to say, give me a, look at these
Why
two
not?
things and give me a price on both. If you pick one, this way I could say,
There'll be different hookups.
What
Sure
would
there
they?
will be.
Could be a
I wanna be able to
different
say,
one.
Godly Electric, here, give me a price on this, and I need to know which one we're going with, and I'm pretty sure
How
I'm,
can you pick a company though, Donald? We don't know what
Well, you're
gear,
picking
the
a pro-
gears that they were talking about, the chain and the other one.
Right.
Right? And we don't know about the hot wired thing. We have to get that before we can vote for a company, because one company might be better than the other, until these two guys know which is
well,
better.
your mechanical engineer in the committee has rendered an opinion, he's told you what he thinks is best.
What do you think is best?
I would go with Stanley, basically, because I don't
Okay.
like chain driving, but that's, once you
Yeah,
get a
but
personal.
we want your recommendation.
So with so many unknowns, is it worth
I think
taking a
you should
vote on it,
table
or
it.
just table it till the next meeting?
What'll happen is that if we don't make this vote on who we're going with, then
I'm dead in the water.
Don and I will choose one to work with so we can get these questions answered.
That's fine,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
good.
But so basically the question is, can we,
No, I don't want you.
shall we go ahead?
So it's gotta be an RFP.
Yeah, you gotta know what you want.
I think what David said is right. You get the path or ADA compliance, and that's what you wanna know. You know the path now, now you gotta see if you want to make this building ADA, what would it take? And then if it's too astronomical, we don't do, we do just the doors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But until you get that information, I can't vote.
So you're saying you want the building to be entirely ADA,
That's what we're
That
saying,
includes
right, for the future.
everything else, including whatever's in the washrooms and hot water and.
Well, we're getting hot water now.
Yeah.
David?
You sit up front
Mhm.
and you watch people come in the front door
Yeah.
on wheelchairs,
Mhm.
on walkers.
Yeah.
And every single one is an issue.
Sure.
People jump up to open the door.
Exactly, and then,
You think that the code is gonna say to you, well, you're making an accommodation for an employee,
Not for the village.
but the heck with the people
Yeah.
coming in here all
That's
day
why you need it for ADA.
with similar deficits.
Absolutely.
I think you are gonna run into a stone wall with code, I really do.
That's why you have to find out how
We'll
you
have
can
to
make it
find out.
ADA.
would you
Or
be
we just do the
adverse
front
to
door.
me taking a ride up to Jog Road and?
Not at all.
Alright, I'll do it.
Discuss the issues,
Yeah,
but
cause I've discussed the issues with them when I did the bathrooms.
let's
and whatever.
write
Let me do it.
down what has to be done.
Alright. Stuart?
There are two things here. One, ADA compliance has nothing to do with how the door opens.
No.
And that's what you wanted to know.
That's why I'm here.
Which company do you feel will provide you what you want based on the way the door opens? Once you have decided, okay, that's the company, the ADA is going to be a side issue, just opposed to this. So you're gonna get the ADA information, but you already have the company that you wanna work with, and you take the ADA information and make it apply to what you wanna do, so. But you have to have a decision, eliminate one company, stay with the other. Once you get the info, you go to the company, say, this is what they tell us to do. How can you do it for us, and how much is it gonna cost, and we want it directly wired. Get an electrical company coming in here and give you a bid, put the package together, this company, electric, this is what it's gonna cost. Door 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what you have to have, and you're finished.
Well, I guess we made
So
the
it
whole,
doesn't matter what the product is, the electricians can do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
but you
You
have
don't
to
know
have,
what
you
the
wanna bid on the
electric's gonna
electrician,
be
now.
because
Yeah.
you would like to have that in the package.
Yeah, since he's the one that's gonna actually
It's
go
gonna be
down
hot
there.
wired now,
I mean,
so
if
the
you,
electrician's
gonna
gonna
get the
be very
permit.
expensive,
Now,
but
if
it
you-
should be, hot wired is the best.
if you went to the, all right, we're gonna make the whole building ADA compliant, it would be this plus a whole bunch of other stuff. And some
Well,
of
we
it
don't
has,
know what,
and some of it has nothing to do with doors, it has to do with handrails and where the toilet paper
well,
roll
we
is.
don't know,
Well, we won't know.
we won't know until you find out
But
from
whatever
them.
it is, it
Are
will
all
be
these
this
doors required
plus.
to be ADA?
Right?
What year were we constructed?
What?
2006?
Six, yeah.
Alright,
Yes?
Two hands up.
Two hands up?
John?
So we've already got experience with Stanley doors.
Yes.
We use them, and you say the breakers uses, Napco.
Yep.
Breakers, Century Village, I'd say let's stick with what we know.
Yeah.
Stick with Stanley, I don't have,
asked David
we
to
don't have the
hang
same
around.
budget as what they got at the breakers.
Right.
I agree with that one.
So
You're
I
right.
think if we stick with Stanley
Okay.
and go with it, we'll be fine, that's my,
Start to put the package
that-
together.
yes, that
We'll
was
get
my
the questions
recommendation.
answered, that's what we wanna do with this.
That's for my
So can we
recommendation.
call a vote?
Call the vote,
So what are we picking now? Just
just the company.
the company?
The company.
Vendor.
Vendor.
Okay, so somebody wanna make a motion?
We're not voting on price, none,
No,
just
no,
the vendor.
Just the vendor.
Preferential vote for
Vendor, okay,
vendors.
just
Make our
vendor.
job easier so we
And
can
the one
get the answer to
vendor
all these
too.
questions.
You wanna
As
make
you
a
did
motion
with
or
the-
something?
Yeah, I would like to
Sign.
make a motion that we accept Stanley as the vendor that we feel we will go with, pending on the ADA and so on.
I second.
Okay.
There we go, all finished.
Who seconded it?
Eddie.
Ed, okay.
Okay, let's call it and then. David Israel,
Yes.
Ed Black,
Yes.
Joey Vestal,
Yes,
David Boaz,
Hard to believe that I would prefer the other vendor, but I will go with the expert's opinion.
okay, Stuart Richland,
Yes,
Barbara Cornish.
Yes,
John Hess.
Yes.
Sandra Cooper,
Yes,
Herb Finkelstein.
Yes,
Tom Bonagy, yes. Haywood Williams,
Yes. Better. Every time you ask me a question now, I just
John Brandt.
ask another way.
Alright, thank you for some direction and we'll
Thank you.
take it from here.
Thanks, everybody, have a good
Even
day.
thank
have
you.
a good day, guys.
take care.
No, we got stuff.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. No,
I'll
I'm,
be showing in my office, okay?
Okay,
Are we gonna beat this?
yeah, no, we're on to the next thing, which is painting of the masonry wall on Fairway Street. There's a picture, I'm sorry it's not in color, it was
Is
originally.
this the wall, the Cohen Plaza, the Guitar Center?
No, this is the imaging center.
Imaging.
There's a
So
big,
it's from so it divides us from the imaging center from Okeechobee Boulevard,
there's a picture.
So it's
in
on
there.
Fairway,
Fairway Street from
the
Okeechobee.
bended Fairway.
This is a concrete, this is a block
It's
wall.
a concrete block wall,
With
approximately
Barbed wire across the top.
approximately 1,000. It's a concrete block wall, approximately 1,000 linear feet.
Oh, my.
I think it's an 8-footer.
There's a however, the land belongs to WPRF,
Why should
So it's their
we paint?
problem?
so I think it's their problem.
Why should we paint?
We came up around this about 4 years ago, and the people wanted it tainted then, and it was a WPRF situation.
Yeah,
Would it
I don't know
be
why it's there, but
accommodated to power wash it?
it's already, well, that's part of the job, but something has changed since the last time we did this. We purchased 5400 Fairway Street, which takes up some of this wall. And
You're saying this is a Century Village, this is a WPRF wall?
Wall.
I don't think so. I think
On
that
the imaging center.
I think that perimeter,
It's in the packet.
John, excuse me a minute, I think that perimeter fences and walls have always been Yuko's responsibility. We repair fences with the exception of the fitness center.
I give you the fences, but
But I can check real quick,
we're not Papa on that wall.
right this minute.
It's
We
a
did-
concrete block wall, I would think if you power washed it, it'd be crisp and clean as driven snow.
Well, the spot that, if you look at it, well, I'm sorry this is not, but you'll see, if you power wash this, you're gonna basically have no paint.
No paint.
But,
What about the razor wire on it?
oh, that came up. The solution is, A, to do this on the weekend, because we don't want any overspray on the cars on the other side. And the second is, two guys are gonna hold up the razor wire with 2 sticks, they're gonna spray it and drop it back down. You don't wanna touch that.
Not allowed to mess with it. If you
We don't
do,
wanna
you gotta-
paint the razor wire, let's put it that way.
Remove it.
Donald, let's resolve unambiguously who owns this wall.
Right this minute.
I don't think it says.
Maybe it belongs to
That
Midtown.
razor wire is
I
nasty
said,
stuff.
it belongs to
Put the wire
John.
up so they don't come over the wall.
On the other side, remember you used to have the
Imagery
yeah,
center.
yeah.
Used to have,
Although we want
And at
outside
one time,
of
we
the
had an
house,
entrance there.
there's a gate there,
Right, we had an entrance there.
but they actually paid
Right.
for that little old lady that guarded that.
I remember that little old lady.
Yeah.
Reminded me of something out of a James Bond.
She reminded me of my mother. Little old lady.
Alright, this is coming up as,
I think WPRF paid for the closing that gate.
I don't see any WPRF involved in here at all.
What WPRF paid
It's the other
for
company.
very graciously was that new fence. That chain link fence that we put up. Which left a gap, a no man's land full of bougainvillea. Doesn't really stop a determined fence jumper.
This is coming up as, Southampton property.
Is this Dean Mitchell?
It's actually coming up as Southampton property, the Southamptons. So here's my question, do you wanna leave it up to the associations or do we wanna do what we usually do with perimeter walls and fences?
The
Take
reason
care of
I once again think it belongs to WPRF is because the building belonged to WPRF and it's now our,
Well, now it
it's
belongs to
our
us,
building.
yes,
Yeah,
that whole
so-
big block,
Yeah.
and which includes part of that wall,
Yeah.
is now ours.
Yeah.
Now, if you go south of where the block ends, then it becomes general, it just comes up Southampton's. Because if you go to Popper, it doesn't delineate A, if you did, it would be A, right? But it's not Yuko property,
It's kinda dirty.
it's,
Has Southampton raised a flag?
well, yeah, that's why I'm here, they asked me to get it painted, you know. I said, no, I gotta ask on this one.
Is this the only bid from Mitchell?
No, I got two.
Oh, I'm
Dean
sorry.
Mitchell came up 1,200, Mid-South came up 1,600.
Okay, see, Mid-South says paint 7-year labor and material. Do we
Yeah.
have anything on the other ones for,
Yeah,
warranty?
there's some
I
kind,
don't see it.
both of them have some kind of warranty.
Well, no, I'm only trying to see it in the contract.
Um,
I don't see it from Mitchell.
Mitchell, good question, let me check.
Maybe I overlooked it, Donald.
The contractor's warranty to the owner is voided if the customer fails to make, no, if we don't
No,
pay,
that's-
if we don't pay, there's no warranty.
Just don't pay
But
'em.
that would lead me to believe there is a warranty.
Well, to believe and to see it in writing, two different things.
But you're right, I do not see any warranty here.
I happen to know Mid-South does give a guarantee, warranty, because I had them do my building, and we got a 7-year.
Yeah, which brings up the issue, does the wall need patching,
That's another one.
Not
cracks in it?
No, I didn't see any major cracks, I didn't see any major pits, what I saw was paint that's basically worn down to the nub. So it would be a quick power wash and spray it.
Are there access problems to the wall?
No, none. Easy peasy.
Patch and repair any minor cracks that last a
Yeah,
minute.
and there wasn't much there, there was a little bit of pointing, that's about it.
There's hardly nothing here in that
Yeah.
wall.
Yes, sir.
In the very corner section where that telephone pole is, I know I went over, you and I looked at it, and I went over later and looked at it.
Yep.
Where it's, I forget the word it's called, but I'll just say fissuring up. So when that's power washed, there might be some,
When we pull up the paint, you might see something. Yeah.
where you may have to put some, extra, re-point some of the blocks.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's an unusual wall in that it's not a staggered bond, it's
No,
stacked.
it's stacked, which is,
Yeah, so unusual.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Berlin Wall.
And instead of this, it's all the way up.
Yeah,
So
the blocks are right on top of each other. And the thing's still up, which is amazing.
Yeah, 'cause they
The only thing holding it together is gravity.
That's not really.
Until the first truck hits it.
What happens if we have 180 mile an hour winds?
Rebar and full of concrete.
I'd like to make a suggestion on the color, because I drove down to where they have the color of the pool is. That would look much better than just plain white there.
Really?
That all, what's it called, like a brownish tan or something like that.
Beige.
You know, it would match our new building, so there's that. On the other hand, it would be different than
I mean, that's just.
Southampton A.
But the buildings are different colors, B is a different color
A
altogether.
is white,
Yeah, but not B.
but our building, which is next to it, is earth tone.
Well, that's why we should go with our building if we're doing it.
You guys can pick color, I don't do color.
But you notice in the contract about the masonry exposed block and the poured concrete stucco repair.
Yeah.
I'm looking where, I'm trying to match them together, cause I don't see it in Mitchell about cutting out the cracks and filling them, cleaning them out, so it'll be smooth later. I don't see that in this contract.
And I won't
This is much more lengthy.
It won't be smooth at any rate, it's
No,
a
that-
naked,
Yeah,
it's
but
a
that's
naked
a
block
Western
door, you're gonna,
patching
whoa.
compound. Over here it
It's the
says,
same thing as patching and taking out the cement that's loose.
yeah, but this
and-
is wire brushing,
Mm.
what he said, and that's
That's the s-
very important. That's
The wire
not what
brushing
he's
is
saying
for the
here.
surface.
Yeah, but also the cracks, they say. Look on the page,
Which
the
one?
two, 5. I mean, I don't know anything about this, but I'm just questioning.
We ought to make sure.
Power washing has the ability to knock
Yes.
out a lot of the mortar joints. So you
Absolutely.
Are they,
don't want
are both
much
companies
more
power
damage
washing
to
this?
have
Yes.
to
Especially
repair.
where
Okay.
that- especially where it's fissured at there.
Yeah.
That's your surface treatment, it's just gonna be a simple power wash and spray it.
There should be some mention of mildew resistant paint.
There is a spec on the lower bid. Yes, Benjamin Moore Ultra Spec satin, which is an exterior,
Is it Dean Mitchell who did the inside the guard houses, by the way?
I don't remember, Barbara.
Cause if I
The-
recall,
the
they
last
did
one
and they didn't do a good job,
The last,
I'm just saying.
the last time I remember using Dean Mitchell was on the entry gates, the metal swing gates at our 2 entrances, they did a good job.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did the guard houses.
So should we ask them to add a mildew side into
I
the
think we
paint so that we keep it as?
Yeah, I could,
I would think that mildew resistant paint would be de rigueur here in Florida, but
Yeah.
don't count on it.
don't hurt to ask.
Yeah. We have that built in and we have our buildings painted.
Does it say what kind of paint you're using? Does it say?
Yeah, it does.
One is using Benjamin Moore,
Benny Moore Ultra Spec
and
is
the other one is using,
Sherwin-Williams,
what is it?
Sherwin-Williams.
Thank you.
you want a Ford or you want a Chevy?
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
Alright, that's pretty much all I got. Mildew, got it. Any other questions?
Is Dean Mitchell part of Seacrest, by the way?
They are.
Thank you.
So you wanna take a vote and call
We
it
gotta
a
make a
day?
motion.
What kind of money are we talking?
$1,200.
1,200 versus
1,200 by
16.
Dean Mitchell, 16 by Mid-South.
Right.
Big bag of tell.
I normally wouldn't laugh, but it's 11:45 and I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours is like,
Well, I did bring you a lot of stuff. Happens.
Somebody wanna make a
Is there a
motion? So we need a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we take, Dean Mitchell.
Dean Mitchell?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
There's more?
Yeah.
Alright.
I noticed in here where it says about when you're working with, in most of these cases, the only way to properly solve future issues is to completely remove all the coatings down to bare concrete using a process called water blasting and apply a solvent-based concrete stain which will penetrate into the concrete. While this process is more costly than the conventional preparation, we don't know how much that process would cost. It might be a few $100s to make it last longer instead of you just painting it. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Paint is pretty much warranted for 8 years.
8 years.
Let another administration worry about it.
Okay.
This high-powered pressure washer. I'm thinking you're talking 3,600 PSI or maybe higher.
And they don't hit it real long and real hard.
That
It's a
wall,
once over.
as you describe it, you could probably push it over. I think you're gonna have mortar flying everywhere.
So it's not worth power washing.
And just,
Power wash doesn't.
and as long as the contract includes repointing all the damage they do. But you can't just let them blast the heck out of it and have it come apart.
Having
I
watched,
think the pointing will cost as much as the paint.
yeah, no, having watched these guys work, they really don't sit there and blast for very long or very hard. It's a once over to get the grime off it and to get the loose paint off it.
Moss off of it.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and then the guy's spraying 10 minutes after the thing dries off,
Right.
so it's just,
Paint, clean it, seal it and paint it.
Kiss and go.
Take a vote.
Let's call the vote.
Call the,
Let's go
Okay.
vote.
I have one more question though, on this place.
yes,
With D Mitchell, they say color to match existing.
white,
Well, you tell me.
well, I don't do color,
Well, we just said
Committees.
beige.
Their quote is
Yeah, that's a different
color to
vote.
match existing.
right? You guys wanna do beige, that's a,
What
that's a-
is existing?
White.
White.
Is it
Wanna
existing?
go
White
beige,
shows
it's
the
a,
dirt.
it's a whole different animal,
Yeah, but it isn't gonna cost any more.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Why would it cost any more? The
I can't
color.
imagine that it would,
The
but-
paint is the same, it's just the color.
I would say ask them.
Well, if you got a different color, it might bleed through somewhere and somebody will whine about the difference in color. If the color, paint it the same color, you don't have to worry about it bleeding
That's
through.
true.
If you paint it the same color and they miss a spot, you'll never know. If you ask them to
You'll
change the
notice
color,
it.
you'll
That's
notice it
right.
right away.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. You'll see what kind of job they do.
That's the
Yeah.
trouble.
The Mid South says you can pick your own colors.
I don't think the color should make a difference in the price.
I don't,
Shouldn't.
guys, I don't do
makes
color, I
sense.
learned the hard way, it's a preference thing, you guys
Just
gotta
gotta go back
decide
and
what
make sure
color
they
you
do
like.
it.
You paint it purple for all I,
Not gonna use blue.
no, you can't
Who
paint it.
made the motion?
2
I
5-gallon
made the
pails.
motion.
Could you make a motion that it be done in beige?
No, we just pick a D
You want
Mitchell.
white? Okay,
What did he say painted in?
as it is.
Okay,
As
paint it as it is.
Okay, I can't.
If you want the other, then I'll rescind my motion and make your own motion. I don't care.
It's getting late.
Well, it's, you know, I might have to go to bed tonight.
Okay, let's do it. So we're selecting D Mitchell.
You gotta take a vote, cause I'm not voting for it.
No,
Well,
I'm
I'm
gonna take
voting
a
no,
vote.
that's all.
Okay,
It's easy.
That's for the motion.
yeah.
Yeah. David Israel,
Yes.
Ed Black, not here.
No.
Joy Vessel's not here. David Boaz,
Yes, but I hope we can ask them for a color change.
okay. Stuart,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes for the color change.
John Hess,
Yes.
Sandra,
yes.
Herb is gone. Don Bonaji, yes. Hayward,
Yes.
was that nice that time? John Gregg,
Color pink, yes.
okay.
Coral, we call it coral,
Coral.
salmon. Alright, guys, I have one more for you,
Oh,
and I promise I'll let you go, and there's only one bid, so
where is it?
this is paving.
I
move we accept
the bid.
Get out of here.
Yes, thank you.
Nah, I kinda want you guys to look for it real quick,
I don't know, what page?
alright, this is, I don't even know anymore, Barbara. 1, 2, 3, 4,
On the bottom.
6, 7, it's in the back of the striping, we didn't exactly do this in order.
and paving.
Yeah, it's just paving,
Yeah, here we go.
maintenance proposal?
yeah, that's it,
Here we go.
paving.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, last month you asked me to, in order to get a better price on the square footage, to make a bigger job. So we did, waited a month and, lo and behold, there's more work. These trucks are killing us, right? They're absolutely killing the edges of our roads. And I'd love to just leave some of this stuff until it's all over, but some of it has to be taken care of because especially in the rainy season, I'm worried about undermining and having a real worse problem than we have now. I got some pictures,
I got that.
pass them around, please.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that was at Stratford.
The painting that was done several years ago, they just went over the grass in some places, so there's really no integrity to the
Oh, no, there's
asphalt,
not.
it's just sitting on burnt out sod and.
One of the things I worked out with Seacrest yesterday, when I was in the truck with them, is they're gonna make it part of their deal, is they're gonna go around after the rainy season and start filling in some of these ruts with sand. And try to forestall some of these issues that we're dealing with now. And no extra cost to us. They're just gonna do it, and which I was real happy to see or hear. Anyway, came out to about 1,100 square feet. Square footage price was $683, which is
75.
yeah, it comes to 7,500. I just wanna point out that this worked out to about $1.50 more than the first job. And that was one of the things I was worried about when we chose this vendor the first time. That are they giving us low introductory price so that we get used to them and, don't wanna go anyplace else. This is higher. Yeah,
But it's still a lower per foot price than what.
without a doubt. And then the other thing I have to report is the quality of the work is better than the previous vendor.
We did have the price of oil did affect the asphalt price as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's oil, and just look at the Citgo station across the street and watch the number go up, so will this. Listen, one of the things I have to report is the quality of work is much better than the previous vendor. And don't believe me, check yourself. Go down South Drive and go over the last big road job, which is now basically a traffic table, because what it boils down to, they didn't have a big enough steamroller to make it go down flat. Then go over to Fairway Street and look at the last big job that this vendor did. You don't even, you forget you went over it.
Yeah.
They just did a better job, it's the best I could describe it.
Question, Dominic?
Yeah,
Ed, I know we're doing a lot of paving repairs, asphalt repairs. Do we have the money to do all
I
this?
don't know how he keeps presenting these without getting a number.
well,
Every time he presents, he should
Didn't
be
you
able to
check,
tell you
did you
that.
check with him?
I didn't, and in this case, we talk about wants and needs, gotta take care of these roads.
Well, we have to have the money to do it though.
Do we have the
That
money,
would make some sense, yes.
can we afford
What
not to
account
do
is
it?
this coming out of?
This would come out of maintenance roadways.
Then you have money for it.
Alright.
But you should check
I mean-
that before you bring these things forward, because everyone's got that question.
I mean, if we're in second quarter and we're worried about whether we spent out our budget, well, we got a problem.
We always gotta watch the budget.
But you're right, Ed,
Yeah,
actually,
but you did bring up the point that maybe we have to put it off till next year, painting that one section, because it still has some color to it. But you're at 56,000 you spent this year so far.
out of,
Just maintenance, with a $220,000 budget.
Oh, you got a lot of money. You got a lot of money.
don't tell me that, Barbara.
Don't
say
say
that.
Don't
Barbara, that's
say
the
that,
wrong
because
thing
we
to
have
say to
fix-
Donald, I promise
If we
you.
have to fix that fence and we don't have enough money to do it, it's
Exactly.
coming out of here.
Right.
Cause I'm gonna have some place to
So it
raise the
sounds
money.
like we have all the money in the world, we don't.
David?
We've got two categories of repair here.
Yes,
These edges, my guess is you're gonna keep seeing this happen. I don't care how much asphalt you pour there.
No, but people pull off the side of the
We
road.
need to start thinking about hard curbs.
Curbing is what you're gonna need eventually,
Right.
right?
This, however,
Wasting
is a life safety issue.
Right.
Root intrusion across walking areas, and there really shouldn't be any delay in this before people come along in their walkers and their canes, and we have trip and falls.
Especially when the cane's still standing and
I
they
call
come
them,
back.
I call them the cracks that will break grandmother's back. If you, the one in your hand, Dave, if you look at it closely, that's an old repair that's
Okay,
popped up, and
I'm
that's
just
weird.
saying.
It's the first time I've seen that.
They're roots, right, that's causing this?
Most of them are roots, but the one in
Are
Dave's
we
right
gonna take
hand,
care of those roots while we do this?
always.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Now, there's an issue that we have with people cutting the corner and almost hitting the trash can in Chatham B, C area.
Yeah.
So we put round things down that look like platelets along the line where they were cutting it short. And they ran over those and went bump, they started to pull away from them. so we no longer have that gone. And if you put those out at this corner here, you may find that's a way to stop that too.
You'll get
Um,
all that.
I know that a lot of the associations do that. We won't, because anything that you put out that's intended to damage a car, you know, I'm gonna worry about. There's a reason why-
Let them know they're off the road.
There's a reason why Seacrest stopped doing this for the associations. It's tough.
Seacrest didn't do it, we did it.
Exactly,
It works very well.
exactly.
I think you should look through to the future, not now.
Yeah.
To be able to reserve a project for curbing this
Absolutely.
community. Cause that's gonna save you money in the long run.
Yep.
But if you reserve for it and you build up the money, then you'll have it to do the curbing.
But the problem is that the swales are at the same elevation. You know, if you wanna have a curb, you can also have a drain, but you're gonna have to raise the,
You mean where the swales are?
yeah,
Yeah, but
on the main roads, they're all swales.
all the way down, no.
There are no curbs, the only elevation change is at the bridges.
Drainage is an issue, but one might be able to core at regular intervals
Yeah,
at the low side of the curb to allow transfer of water both ways.
Like this.
I
Put
don't
Like
weep
this.
holes in there.
like this,
John,
yeah.
like weep holes,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
When you put the curbing in, allow for a drain there and then just put a 4-inch drain underneath the curbing and your water will run down
Right.
to where you gotta go. And then your rain will just soak in the dirt and the grass you got on
But
top.
he's hit on a problem. I mean,
That's-
it's
you're
gonna
right.
take some thinking.
But
So
it's,
it becomes a continuous concrete wheel stock,
Yeah.
right?
Effectively.
It's something to trip over, all
But
the fools
is
that
it,
walk
would
on
it
the
be
grass.
possible, you think, for us to just look at curbing at areas that are heavily, let's say our main, our main
Yeah,
intersections, where I have the most damage.
Well,
Maybe
where
we
you have
could
the
start
most
there.
damage, you would
Curves,
know, right.
curves were a lot
Yeah,
of
curves.
damage too.
all the curbs.
This is what I'm saying. Alright, I'll look into it.
Alright, what's on the table now?
$7,000
Root cracks.
It's $7,000.
$7,516, this is the next batch of paving repairs, roadway and walkways.
I make a motion, we do the repairs.
You gotta do.
Second,
We got
oh, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
I don't care.
As long as it's maintenance.
Yeah, you gotta do
Maintenance,
them.
you gotta do it. Cheaper than a lawsuit.
It's not beautification.
Is that a
It's not beautification, it's right.
If she makes the motion.
I didn't make the motion, John
I'm
did.
watching for it.
Take it out of certs.
We got it, no problem.
11:57, folks.
Report
So we're voting to pass for road maintenance and remove root intrusion. David Israel,
Yes.
Ed Black,
Yes.
David Boaz,
Yes.
Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Barbara Cornish.
Yes.
John Hess.
Yes.
Sandra Oker,
Yes.
Burke is gone, Don Guanacci, yes. Haywood Williams,
Yes.
and John Gray.
Yes.
Thank you, this work will get
Carried
done,
unanimously.
this work will get done in the month of June. That's all I got, I'm sorry I brought you so much of my
Thank
time.
God.
Weather bends.
Kinda keep track of
Thank you.
all your curves, where there's
Yeah,
cement breaking,
that's what I'm
and
thinking.
we'll start putting curbs
Does
in.
this have to go to
It
the
won't take
office?
much to put in
Oh,
10 foot of curb.
Motion to adjourn at 7:59.
I gotta go see if Tony's available. How are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Yeah, meeting. Stuff to talk to cert meeting.
I missed it too, don't worry about it.
No, I said I missed you.
Oh, okay,
No, I
yeah.
was there.
No, I had, my granddaughter was in the thing, I had to go do that. So how did the meeting go? I got a copy of the minutes,
Okay,
but
it's all right. I couldn't understand the gentleman that
Oh,
was
a
running.
curb would
Yeah.
be,
He's got a pretty good
road
draw.
if you need
Yeah.
When there's no
Quiet,
side,
so
Here's my
we're knocking
answer.
down a little bit.
yeah, but at least he's
choice
willing to
was
step up and do it.
no